All right, let's look at another problem that we're going to find the exponential equation, which again is the form y equals a times b to the x that passes through these 2 points. So let's start by setting up our table again, except instead of starting at 0 this time, we have a value for x that's going to come before 0, right? Negative 1 would come before 0 on the number line. So let's start our table at negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's fill in what we know. So across from the negative 1, our y is negative 2, and we know across from x being 3, our y is negative 162. So we're going to do the same thing as the last time and start with the lower number on the table, the number that is closer towards the bottom of your table. And we're going to start with that number, negative 162, divided by the other y number, negative 2. So when I divide those, I'll get 81. That means to get from negative 2 to negative 162 by multiplying, I'd have to multiply by 81. But I want to know all the little spaces in between. What am I multiplying by? Okay, so if you count how many times I just did those little bounces there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times to get to this point that's happening. So we're going to multiply by something 4 times itself over and over again to get it to be worth 81. So again, that could be b times b times b times b. Has to be worth 81 once I multiply them together, because it has to be worth that same amount over and over again, or just in one big jump. Okay, so instead of writing b times itself 4 times, we'll write b to the 4th. And to get rid of the 4th exponent, we'll take the 4th root of both sides. Okay, so making sure you remember how to do these 4th roots in your calculator in case you don't know this, that's going to be worth just a 3. All right, so we have our multiplier. That means each of these little gaps from one to the next is multiplying by 3. What we don't have is our starting value this time. So let's look in our table. We need to figure out this spot right here. What's across from the 0? And if we just do one use of the multiplier and multiply negative 2 times our multiplier, which is 3, that'll end up being negative 6 right there. So now we have our starting value and our multiplier. Our equation will be negative 6, we put our starting value first, times the multiplier, which is 3, raised to the x power. Okay? And if I want to check this, I should be able to plug in a number and for x and get the right result out. So let's check that. Let's plug in x is worth 3. Okay? So what we're going to do here is do 3 to the 3rd power first. If we're doing this, let's say, without using a calculator, 3 times the 3rd, or without just plugging it in right away, I should say. 3 to the 3rd is going to be 27, and then negative 6 times 27, we should hope, is negative 162, and it is. Okay? Otherwise, you can just type all this in at one time, but that's how we know that our equation is correct.